I discovered my girlfriend secretly posted my PS5 for sale to pay for her sister's wedding gift, so I shut it down and dumped her. I'm a 27-year-old guy, and for the past few weeks, I've been juggling work deadlines and family obligations. I barely had time for my usual gaming sessions. My PlayStation 5, the pride of my entertainment corner, sat gathering dust. It never crossed my mind that anything was amiss, because my girlfriend and I typically had an unspoken respect for each other's stuff. Sure, she would tease me about spending too much time gaming, but I never suspected she was plotting anything so out of bounds. Everything changed one Saturday afternoon when I heard the doorbell. I wasn't expecting anyone, so I peeked out the window to see a stranger standing on the porch, checking his phone. My girlfriend happened to be in the kitchen, rummaging through drawers. She looked startled when the doorbell rang, but brushed it off, saying, "I'll see who it is." Something about her face flickered with tension. Curious, I followed her to the door. She cracked it open, and the stranger greeted her by saying, "Hey, I'm here about the PlayStation 5 you posted." My ears pricked up. That instantly felt bizarre. My PS5 was definitely not for sale. My girlfriend stammered, I meant to message you." There's been a slight change in plans. She glanced over her shoulder at me, clearly hoping I wouldn't butt in. But I stepped forward. "What's this about a PlayStation 5 sale?" The buyer seemed confused, frowning as he flipped through something on his phone. "Isn't this the place? The listing said to come by today, and I was told it's still available." He showed me the screen, a Facebook Marketplace ad with photos of a PS5 that looked suspiciously like mine. The post even showed a shot of my living room's TV stand. My girlfriend's face went crimson. She tried to nudge me away, muttering, "I'll handle this. Just go to the other room." But I stood firm. "Sorry," I told the buyer, "there must be some misunderstanding. The console isn't for sale." The man, looking annoyed, huffed that he'd driven a considerable distance. He asked if I was the seller, or if I was aware that the listing was for half the going price. My girlfriend tried to salvage the situation, claiming I never confirmed the sale. I was just taking offers. The buyer looked exasperated, then threw up his hands and left, grumbling about wasted time. As the door closed, I turned to my girlfriend. My heart pounded with a mix of shock and anger. Why the hell is my PS5 listed for sale online? She started with a defensive posture. "It's not a big deal. You haven't used it in weeks." I figured you wouldn't miss it. That wasn't remotely an excuse. My voice rose. "You know, that console cost me quite a bit. And even if it's collecting dust right now, it's mine. You can't just sell my property without asking." That's when she dropped the real reason, or at least part of it. Her sister's wedding was coming up, and apparently the sister had set her sights on a fancy gift, some kind of designer set or premium honeymoon fund. My girlfriend's plan was to sell my PS5 to help cover the cost of that extravagant present. "We're expected to bring something impressive," she said, "and I don't have the cash right now." I was sure you'd understand if it's for family. I stared at her in disbelief. "Your solution is to sell my console behind my back. You don't see how messed up that is." She insisted she was only trying to do something nice for her sister. Then came the entitlement. "You can always buy another. It's not like you're broke." But my sister's wedding is once in a lifetime. The logic was mind-blowing. She'd quietly posted my device for sale, agreed to meet a buyer at our house, all while expecting me to just go along with it. I demanded answers. Why not ask me first? Why list it behind my back? She folded her arms, annoyed at my anger. "Because you'd have said no. This wedding is important, and your gaming toy is just a luxury." That statement hammered home how she viewed my hobbies. Dispensable, trivial, unworthy of discussion. My blood boiled. I told her I wasn't sure I could trust her anymore if she thought it was fine to sell my possessions in secret. She rolled her eyes, throwing out lines like, "It's not like you even use it, and I'm doing this for family obligations." She stormed off to the bedroom, leaving me fuming in the living room. The audacity was unreal. I'd never seen that side of her, that sense of entitlement where her sister's wedding gift overshadowed any respect for my property. A wave of betrayal sank in. We'd been dating for over a year, and I thought we understood each other's boundaries. Clearly, I was wrong. I spent that entire evening pacing, half wishing the buyer would come back so I could unleash my frustration again. But the damage was done. My console was momentarily safe, but my relationship felt anything but. The next morning, I woke to find her sipping coffee, scrolling on her phone. I demanded we have a real talk about what happened. She tried brushing me off, saying, "I have errands to run. Let's do this later." I insisted we talk now. The tension in the room was thick as she reluctantly set down her mug. "I want a straight answer," I began. "Did you truly believe it was okay to sell my PS5 for some wedding gift?" She looked at me like I was being overly dramatic. "You're blowing this out of proportion," she snapped. "It's not like I was stealing. I was just rearranging assets for a better cause." That phrase, rearranging assets, made my skin crawl. My possessions weren't just random resources to be traded for her family's whims. She then tried a guilt trip approach. "My sister's wedding is important. She's done a lot for me in life, and I can't just show up with something cheap. You've been ignoring that console anyway. I thought you'd understand." Her logic was jaw-dropping. I pressed on, refusing to let her reframe it. "No, you never asked. You posted it secretly, arranged a buyer, and only got caught because the buyer showed up when I was home. That's not asking for help. That's betrayal." She let out a frustrated sigh, claiming she had no other way to gather money. She wouldn't get a small personal loan, she wouldn't ask her parents, and she didn't want to cut corners on the gift. "I want my sister to have something she'll cherish." "And you have more than enough stuff," she said with a sneer, gesturing at my TV, my speakers, the shelves of games. The underlying message: my hobbies were worthless clutter. I tried to keep my cool, but my voice trembled with anger. "You realize that console was a gift from my father, right? It's not even about the money. It's the principle." She scoffed. "Oh, so now it's sentimental. I've never seen you treat it like some sacred heirloom." That stung. I had a nostalgic attachment, sure, but even if it was purely material, it was mine. Our argument escalated. She accused me of being selfish for not caring about her sister's big day. I countered that I was never consulted, that there were countless alternatives, like saving from her own paycheck or contributing a smaller gift. She shrugged. Then we'd look cheap. My sister expects something big, and I'm not going to disappoint her. The arrogance stunned me. Her sister's expectations apparently trumped all sense of boundaries or fairness. Unable to see eye to eye, she abruptly left to clear her head. While she was gone, I decided to check if she'd posted any other items for sale without my knowledge. After rummaging through my closet, I confirmed nothing else was missing. But fear gripped me. If she was capable of listing my console once, who's to say she wouldn't try again? Later that day, I discovered the marketplace listing was still up, albeit marked on hold. She hadn't even deleted it after our blow-up. That was the final straw. I texted her, demanding she remove it immediately. She responded with a snarky fine, but appended, "If you're this petty, I'll figure another way to pay for the gift." The lack of remorse was staggering. I started mentally planning how to handle the relationship. Part of me was still reeling. Could I salvage this if she apologized or made amends? But each hour that passed, I felt more certain I couldn't trust her. That night, she returned home with no explanation or apology. She tossed her keys on the counter, acting like everything was normal. I confronted her one last time, asking her to see reason. She rolled her eyes, accused me of being a non-supportive partner, then locked herself in the bedroom. By the next morning, my patience was gone. I demanded we talk properly. She ambled into the living room, sighing loudly. "If this is about that stupid console again, can we just drop it?" she said. My jaw clenched. This wasn't just about a console. It was about blatant disrespect and entitlement. I told her I needed clarity. "Are you sorry for what you did, or do you still think it's justified?" She hesitated for a split second, then doubled down. "I wouldn't have needed to do that if you just helped me from the start. You have the money. You claim to care about me. My sister's wedding is huge. It's not fair for me to show up empty-handed." That left me speechless. She was effectively blaming me for her underhanded tactic. The sheer nerve was enough to make my head spin. I let out a sharp breath. "We are done if you can't grasp how wrong it was. I can't be with someone who feels entitled to my belongings." She scoffed, crossing her arms. "Seriously? You'd break up over something as small as a gaming console?" Her dismissive tone lit a fire in me. "It's not small. It's you lying, stealing, and disrespecting me. This is exactly the kind of betrayal that kills trust. She started cursing, complaining that I was ruining her sister's wedding. I nearly laughed at the absurdity. She had conjured this scenario where selling my PS5 was the only path. I repeated that it was my property, that she had no right to list it. She retorted, "I live here too. I have a right to do what's needed for family." That was it. The last shred of me that hoped for reconciliation vanished. I told her, in no uncertain terms, that she needed to pack her belongings. She tried to pivot, saying I was overreacting. She even threatened, "If you kick me out, I'll tell everyone you're a jerk who refused to help me in a family emergency." The goal. I wasn't about to let her manipulate me with social or familial pressure. "Go ahead," I shot back. "Tell them the real story of how you tried to secretly sell my property to fund a wedding gift. I doubt you'll look good." Her face flashed with anger, and for a moment I thought she might try to physically stop me from removing her things. Instead, she stormed into the bedroom, yanking clothes from the closet in a fury. She hollered that I was heartless, that I valued a console over love. The irony was staggering. If that were true, I wouldn't have minded helping if she'd just been honest and asked. But the clandestine listing sealed her fate. As she packed, I heard her on the phone, presumably with her sister or a friend, complaining that I was kicking her out for no reason. My blood boiled, but I let her spin her story. Meanwhile, I grabbed a couple of boxes, calmly stacking her things so she could leave as soon as possible. The tension in the apartment was suffocating, punctuated by her heated phone conversation in the other room. When she finally emerged, tears glistening in her eyes, I almost wavered. Part of me felt a pang of sadness at the end of what I thought was a loving relationship. But the memory of that buyer on the doorstep refueled my resolve. She tried one last time to guilt me. "My sister's wedding is in 2 weeks. Where am I supposed to stay?" I shrugged. "Not here. You made that choice when you tried selling my belongings behind my back." Her eyes narrowed. "You'll regret this," she spat, lugging her suitcase out the door. I said nothing, just watched her leave. The slam of the door echoed in the hallway, marking the final severance. I felt both relief and heartbreak. The apartment was eerily quiet, the once shared space now tinted by the memory of our explosive fights. I powered on my PS5 just to confirm it was truly still mine. A wave of gratitude washed over me that I'd been home to intercept the buyer. Otherwise, I would have returned from an errand to find my console gone, sold for half its worth. The betrayal stung. Over the next couple of days, I braced for drama. Sure enough, I got calls from mutual friends and her relatives who'd heard some twisted version of events. They asked if it was true I'd thrown her out on the street. I calmly explained the real story. She tried to sell my console secretly for money to buy a lavish wedding gift. Some friends were shocked. A few scolded me for not compromising. But I refused to budge. There's no compromise when it comes to someone stealing your possessions. One or two of my buddies wholeheartedly supported me, urging me to stand my ground. Her sister eventually messaged me, "Why would you do this to her right before my wedding? Couldn't you have waited?" That set me off. I replied with a polite but firm message. She tried to sell my property behind my back. Waiting doesn't change the betrayal. She's no longer my concern. I blocked her after that, not wanting further entanglements. The sister's blame was laughable, like I was the problem for not allowing them to walk all over me. I debated if I should contact the police or anything, but she hadn't actually completed the sale, so it was more an attempted theft than a done deal. My console was intact. Legally, it might be a tricky fight. I decided it wasn't worth pressing charges over a sale that never happened. The real justice was that she lost a stable living situation and a relationship because of her own greed and manipulation.